My name is Tripmastaz, and I'm an alcoholic. And I'm not. When I was a kid, it just all started not long before I was born. So it was like natural interest in new music because it was all new back then in the 80s, a long time ago. Me and my friends, we were interested in like getting this new sound because it was like brand new. It was way more interesting to us and fresh than the previous music, even including rock music and stuff, because some people listening to rock and I wasn't that much interested in it. And I was like into hip hop, and then it was house and all kinds of electronic music, the drum and bass, jungle, rave music. When you younger, you listen to rave stuff and like hardcore, gabba, so all of it. So for me, it's still like the whole spectrum of music. It's not subgenres, it's the whole thing, you know. We didn't have access to records until I was 17, 18. I was living in Russia and we didn't have, and it wasn't a like huge city. It was still big city, but not the central, you know, not the capital, and we didn't have that much of access. So we were listening to radio shows from Moscow and trying to get some tapes, and like even taping radio shows, late night radio shows, to get the information. So yeah, it wasn't like that easy, and we had like a few magazines, a few clubs in the city. So yeah, that's how we started. This is actually was the only thing I wanted to do really in life. Fully hooked up on this music, and yeah, that's the only thing I wanted to do, like make music and play music. It was weird to my family because I'm not from musical family and no musical background, and I was like the only one. And yet to this day, I'm the only one from the whole big family of people who's making music and playing music and professionally like living music, you know. So yeah. And we had like hip hop bands, and I was producing some local hip hop stuff, and then making like house. I made all kinds of stuff when I was a teenager, from jungle, drum bass, trip hop, to house, techno, all kinds of stuff. It was just a brand new sound and you just want to be a part of it. That's it. It wasn't like, oh, I'm into minimal or this or that. It was all the same thing. Yeah, you listen to the music, you hear something interesting, and then you want to replicate it. And since we didn't have much of a music to buy or to get, then my goal to make music was actually to make more music I like, but I don't have access to, you know, from other artists, you know. So it was like the feeling, the void. The first computer I had was pre-Pentium. It was 386 and 486. So you had like 40 seconds of memory to make loops. I didn't have any software, so it was this Windows built-in recorder. So I was recording loops from cassettes to computer. Then I was using calculator to calculate how long would be the loop. And then I was like putting layers upon layers, and then yeah, I had some like final loop, like ready loops. And then I was bouncing them back to the cassette because I didn't have any memory in the computer. When I had 486 computer, then I had minute and a half, so I bounce minute and a half, press pause on the tape, then you record another piece 130, and then you have like 3 pieces and it's a whole track. Yeah, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. Who can show you how to calculate the fucking loop? The main thing was I wanted to do it that bad. I spent all my time and effort and all my nerves into it, you know, because it wasn't easy to. You use calculator, then you back and forth with tape. So yeah. No mentors. Only until like 6 years ago. Because I was traveling, I started to play internationally, different countries, and at one point I wanted to be outside of Russia and closer to my musical friends and in a so to say smaller, more quiet city, which is Berlin compared to Moscow or St. Petersburg or other like New York, because I was traveling a lot before, and yeah, I just wanted to be closer to music and closer to peace, so to say. It was, I think it was a bar. My friend, like older DJ, one of the best DJs in my town, he started a DJ bar, like the first ever DJ bar. So we were able to play daytime and then evening parties sometimes, and then we had like an old underground club. So yeah, probably the first gigs were this bar, like professional, so to say, because before we had some parties, but it wasn't, you cannot say it was like that professional. And I started to buy vinyl and started to play vinyl. It was back in '98. Another tear. But it's such a long period of time. You could have asked how it's different from 10 years in or then another 10 years in. But I mean, from the first to the last, it's, should I say, same shit, different toilet. At the same time, at the core it's the same thing, kind of, but with your like journey through the music and through the years, it's completely different. I think, I mean, it's still the same passion, same. Some of the tracks I play is still the same one. I'm like looking back and finding some tracks I played 20 years ago, 25 years ago. I'm still playing them today, like as they fresh again, you know. I couldn't say if it's that different at core. Of course, different people, different generations, different sound systems, probably better now than before, than they used to be. So yeah, in this way, it's like more quality sound, and probably people know more about music than back then, because it was like still new, you know. So yeah, this probably this part is the most different. That people are more into now it's some generations that were born into this music. Before it was just all new and they didn't know, and all these people come together and these people listen to, I don't know, rap, and these people listen to some pop shit, and they all come together and they don't know what to do sometimes, you know. So now it's more comfortable in this way, it's more pure kind of. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's the right word. For these days, pure is probably not the right word, but still it's more, people more conscious about probably where they go, to what party they go, or what sound they like. It's all moving still to this day, I would say. I mean, for me, because I know some people, they more into one type of music, but for me it was always, since I started as a lover of electronic music, I'm still, I have my phases. This is house phase, this is like more minimal, this is more experimental, and it like changes and shifting throughout the years, and even through 1 year maybe. I have a digital label for trip hop, kind of like laid back, lo-fi trip hop stuff. So I still produce this kind of music as well. And when I produce my music, it could be minimal, or it can be house record. So for me, it's still like not defined. To me, it would be pretty boring to stick to just one concept, you know, one genre. It's still kind of, I would say, it's probably people from the outside can tell what my sound is, or they can probably define it. To me, it's housey anyways. It's probably groovy and housey and trippy. But yeah, I can't say if it's, you know, so much defined. And it's plural, which is confusing, and it was confusing to some promoters sometimes, because like, oh, Tripmastaz, how many people are you? because they don't know if it's a band like back in the days. And yeah, and I was one time I was talking to Butch, and he's like a funny guy. He also told me like, oh, probably it's confusing to book you because people, promoters, sometimes they don't know if do they have to buy like 3 tickets or yeah. So yeah, it's a name I got since I was like 15, 16, and I just stuck with this name somehow. I remember too many of them, and it just overload information and like on music, and because I'm still digging for records a lot. So, but back then, for me it was Chicago, was Derrick Carter, and then Sneak later, and Josh Wink. So for me, it's more of a American house and techno. Also some European or UK labels, they had a lot, but mainly the influence was coming from Chicago and New York, yeah. I should say Detroit. It was a big wave in Moscow for many years. Like most of the DJs played minimal, and they booked all these Romanian DJs all the time, so it was like a big trend for many years actually. But I was living in St. Petersburg, and St. Petersburg was not at all in minimal somehow, because they are 2 different cities, different vibes. So St. Petersburg still to this day not up to minimal that much. St. Petersburg is more like this. It's kind of more European, and it's colder, and it's more this kind of punk rock mentality, and more artsy, and way less money than in Moscow. So, but actually it's not the explanation, right? St. Petersburg was more of a house thing, and then they had a lot of big drum and bass events and some techno stuff as well. So it was like more dark underground kind of. Yeah, so I don't know why. You should ask somebody from Moscow why that. It's probably from deep mix radio. It's maybe it's, I don't know. It's a way bigger city, and it's a different dynamics in Moscow. So somehow they got caught up in minimal, like heavy. Touring and then releasing music and playing and like meeting people, and I was releasing on some German labels. So yeah, and the city attracts a lot of DJs and producers from all over the world. Yeah, I didn't plan to move here. It just one day I came for a gig, and first time ever it felt like the city I can live in, you know? Because I love Barcelona a lot. I was playing a lot before, I was coming frequently, but and I love it, but I never felt like I can live there. Oh, I love New York. I don't feel like I can live there. I can visit it, I can enjoy it, and here it feels like something in the air, you know? It felt right to move here. My life is built around music since I was a teenager, so it's just natural. I don't know what to say even, you know. It's just natural, rotating around my musical life, and that's it. All the other aspects, they like kind of stick around my musical life, I guess. Since you're in a city where also it's kind of like musicians or artist city, supported by government, you know, you feel that you belong here as an artist. It gives you freedom, kind of more freedom to experiment with music. And since it's not as a big city as other ones, then you don't waste so much time on like getting somewhere. It's not that crazy fast city. It's still like, to me, comparing to like Moscow especially, or like New York, it's super slow, kind of like village mentality city still. So it gives you like this calmness and more time and freedom to make music. And when I moved here, I feel less of an interest in social media, because living here, it doesn't feel natural at all. Because traveling, you see social media, they affect life so heavy. Here is like still, Germany feels like way behind, and I think they consciously trying to be as less with social media as they can. Even with clubs, you know, you're not allowed to take pictures and stuff, you know, it's just to enjoy the moment. So yeah, all of it gives you this different feeling about music and club scene and making music. And so yeah, you don't have this pressure of doing something like trendy. At least to me, when I moved here, I feel way more free with my craft, you know. Yes, and still we have so many record shops here and labels and all kinds of stuff related to music. So yeah, here you feel more private with the laws they have, being like not filmed and just, yeah. I think before I was thinking it's just club rules, but it has to do with general German rules they have for your privacy as a person. The people are more educated here, not, or maybe spoiled in a way, but in a good way. I think that what Berlin did and remain, that you have like a cultural city that revolving around underground music still. For so many years they figured out how to make all these clubs running for so many years without compromising. I mean, some of them are compromising, but in the core they still have so many underground clubs that like still underground. The way I felt maybe 20 years ago, when it was like raw underground kind of basement dusty vibe, and they still remain here, this feeling, you know. And also it makes you sharper as a DJ or collector or musician, because you have so many fellow artists here that make you be to a certain level, you know. I would say less these days, because my music, and since I started mastering, it also takes time. But yeah, I would say that I was collaborating more like 5 years ago. I even had a label called Collab. I had a few records out with Satoshi Tomi and Alex Kidd and Cesar Marville and other people to have this series of collaborations, to put them out. But yeah, I would say maybe less these days, but probably gonna happen soon again. Because we are talking with other friends, but everybody's busy, and you know, it's a comfortable city to live, so you don't want to leave your house that much, being here somehow. So yeah, it's kind of hard sometimes to link up with friends, even if they live not far from you, you know? But we are working on it. He was playing my music, and people were saying, like, years ago, and my friends were, not even friends, people on internet were sending me sometimes videos, oh, Ricardo plays this and that and that. And then, so he was playing the music, and then he's friends with Sneak, who's my big bro for life. And one time I was visiting Sneak on Ibiza, and then we went, and it happened that Ricardo played at Amnesia, his residency, and then we went there and we talked about music and stuff, and then I came to his studio here, and before I even moved to Berlin, so we recorded some music, and then when I moved here we were recording like multiple times. doing sessions, and then yeah, after like probably 4 or 5 years, we had like tracks that I wanted to release, and then that's how it happened. We picked the tracks and released them. It was like a natural process. It wasn't like pushed, you know, just recording some sessions, and then we got enough tracks I would like to release, which are not, you know, just abstract studio jams, you know. So, some tracks that have core and some idea behind, you know. That's why one track we released was with rapper from New York, GC, and old friend, and I had the vocal, and then we used it, you know. So yeah, we have some like real tracks, not jams. Jams, but not jams. I think the first vinyl, 2 releases I remember. One was VA for, it was a Swiss label called Morris Audio, like a pretty big label back in the days for kind of underground music, like minimal stuff. I think it was in 2004, 3 or 4. And then the second release, the same year probably, was pure like instrumental house, like American instrumental house with live keyboards. I had a friend playing keyboards. It was like in a jazz band, and with live bongos. So also like completely different, but it was like 2003-4, the first releases. I have my label Respect the Craft, and the label where I released our EP with Ricardo, and the next release will be our EP with Sneak. The tracks we made roughly 7 to 10 years ago on Ibiza, around the time we met with Ricardo, actually, and yeah, we were recording tracks back then in the garage of his villa. In a month we made 33 tracks. And since then we released some of them on different labels, but we had a core of the tracks I like, and I polished them up, like mixed them again over. And yeah, it's gonna be the next release, and we just starting to press it actually. Yeah, one track of this EP was on Ricardo's BBC Radio 1 Pete Tong's mix 6-7 years ago. So yeah, people were asking about it, and we finally gonna release it on vinyl. And the next, I'm working currently mixing and mastering my Tripmastaz 9. It's my label I have for some years, and it will be number 9, EP number 9. So I'm finishing it up. So this thing. And apart from mixing and mastering for other people, some other projects, all kinds of stuff.
So do you do that quite a lot, like as a full service now?
Yeah, I still like to manage it the way that it doesn't affect my time too much. I don't want to have it as a like fully exhausting job. So I'm trying to get a balance between me making music, me playing music, and then mastering for other labels or artists. So yeah, I'm trying to just manage it. Definitely some like steps in your career throughout the years, like different stages, different highlights. Yeah. Usually it's when you release music with, or make music with people you value as artists, or when you play a gig somewhere where you know it's a proper place, you have a like a lineup, like a dream lineup or whatever. So these kind of things, you know, with releases, and when you travel somewhere you have never been, you know. So nothing like in particular, I would say, but yeah, definitely you have like some milestones. For me, it's definitely beats and groove and bass. For me, it's like, but sometimes you start with some interesting sound and you have an idea. Again, it's like with genres, for me, I like to be open to different approaches. And also being working with different artists, they have different approach. Like Ricardo has one approach, Sneak has another one, this guy has this one, and yeah, and throughout the years you also find some different, it keeps you interested in doing that, you know. So that's why I like to have like different approaches. But mainly I would say for me it's always drums and bass and the groove. Again, it depends. It just depends on the day. It could be of totally no ideas. You just go in and do it. And years ago, I had this reference. It's like when real MCs, they sharpen the craft. They write rhymes every day just for the sake of writing it. The same way I was doing music for years. Just you want to keep yourself in this shape and in this feeling and in this space. So that's why for me it's like you can work on music from scratch. You can just start something you don't even think about, just to keep the ball rolling, you know, with music. Yeah. So it could be like different approaches. Actually, it started to happen here in Berlin, and we didn't touch on this. I started living here with a lot of DJs and interesting DJs coming in. I started to go out to hear some, not too often, but to hear some interesting or like super talented DJs playing, and it inspires you in a creative way, give you just this energy or new ideas, you know. Because before I was, and for many years I was playing so often, I was just coming to a gig, play a gig and leave, you know. I was, and I'm not like a party type of guy, so I wasn't like staying that long, you know. And here in Berlin I can just go, and I know that I will meet some friends and fellow DJs also coming in just to hear other DJs, you know. So it's this cultural aspect is something a bit different from previous times, I would say. Just the vibe. And these are all different DJs, different genres, could be, you know, yeah. Get a real job. It's the same one for years. Get a real job. To me it's this, if you love it, you just do it to the best of your ability, and honest as much as you can and interesting as much as you can, not just to make content for whatever like wrong reasons you have, you know, like, because I can dig it that people, they see superstar DJs, this and that. It's like a lot of frustrating media bullshit these days coming at you, so it can fool some people that, oh, I can be a DJ overnight and like I'm gonna get this money and all this, you know, nice watch. Yeah, just if you love it, just do it, and that's it. Make it more interesting and try to push it forward. That's it.